What's up, YouTube? What's good? My name is Taddy, and welcome to this OSCP VM series. Okay, so we are doing the box MouseKatool2, as you can tell. And the only reason we're doing the second one is the first one is because I couldn't get the first one working. I was having a lot of problems with it, but if I do get it working, we shall go through that one as well on video in 4K, okay, 1080 rather. I'm going to be referencing Howard a lot, since he is the creator of the box and we have a lot to learn from him and from his OSCP experience and cybersecurity experience in general. So one thing he does mention a lot with regards to this box is doing enumeration for every port, and it's really hard to quantify what enumeration looks like if you don't know what you're doing. And in this case, if you're told to enumerate a port like 1918, what would you do? I wouldn't know what to do, right? So that's one thing you really have to learn, just different enumeration techniques. And the ones we learn in this box, while doing this box, are that you should connect to the port, either via the interwebs, right? Go to Firefox, Chrome, whatever you use, Brave, I don't know. Go to the interwebs, try connect to the port, either HTTPS or HTTP, who knows what you might find, right? If that doesn't work, connect to it using Netcat. That's another good thing because you might get a banner. And with regards to this VM, banners are what get us inside. Banners are important. You never know what you could find. Enough talking, let's get into it. So I have already run my nmap scan because it takes a while, and I am just going to open it in Sublime if I can type. That is okay. We have this thing open in Sublime. If you don't have Sublime on your Linux VM, you're not living life. I don't know what you're doing, to be honest. But anyways, as you can see, we have port 21 open, 135, 139, 445, 1978, 2080, 2855, 2856, a ton of open ports. And this is what you probably get from the OSCP, right? You have to do a lot of enumeration really quickly, just triage properly, and you will get through, right? As you can see, message signing enabled but not required. This is a vulnerability for like SMB relay. It could work, but this is not like an Active Directory type thing, so we can skip that. And these are useless ports. You really don't have to go through these. I don't know what you'll be doing if you're looking at this port. You're probably out of things to do, or you don't know what you're doing at all, right? You're probably out of ideas. That's the only way you could actually start looking at these ports, but you won't get anything. But in general, this is the layout of the LAN. A ton of open ports, a ton of things to look at, a couple of rabbit holes here and there. But yeah, you just have to triage properly and get through it. So for first thing I did was I looked at FTP, right? Anonymous login. But as you can see, once you log in, all the directories are empty, 0, 0, 0, 0. So it's really just another rabbit hole put there by Howard just to troll us. The first thing I usually do is use nmap scripting engine, if it's a Windows machine, just to check if we can get a quick win. And I have no idea what the IP is for this thing, so I am going to do that. ARP scan. I'm running it locally, by the way. There we go. That is the IP address. So if you do the scripting engine thing, you might get some eternal blue. Like I said, MS17010, it might come back, and if you can exploit this, it's a quick win. You're already in. You probably have NT authority access system type levels. I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I mean. You're probably a system user when you get in with this CVE 2017-0143, right? We could try exploit this using Interpreter or manually, but if you're doing the OSCP exam, you probably don't want to use Interpreter, right? Unless you're like completely stuck and you need the points, then you can use it. But I generally don't think we should use it. But in this case, if we tried using it, it's gonna fail. It's gonna tell us the exploit is not compatible with this machine. And like I said, there's a lot of rabbit holes and whatnot on this VM and in the OSCP, so I've heard. So this is just another one of them. but if it had worked, it would have been a quick win, right? So that's the first thing I usually do. And then I run in of Linux, if I can type still, tac A, and then we're not supposed to have the backslash. My goodness, my typing skills are really bad today. Whenever I'm on camera, my fingers just don't move properly, but it is what it is. As you can see, we have this 20, which means there's a file share enabled, file service is active, and we can try connect to, you see what I mean? I can't even type. You can try connect to this thing. How many backslashes were there? There we go. And I have the wrong IP address. But you're probably not gonna get anything, access denied. Okay, so let me just tell you where we are going to go from here so that we don't waste too much time, right? Through enumeration, connecting to the ports, like I said, you'll find that there's this port 1978. That is Uni SQL and a question mark. What is that? I've never seen it in my life, but it looks interesting. And since we used nmap with a capital A that does all thingies, no idea what it does, but it does everything. We have this banner, right? This is the banner returned by the port, and you can see it if we try to connect to the port using netcat 1978. This is what it returns. So in the exam, you might be like, what the hell is this? What am I supposed to do in this? Copy and paste it into Google. Google that stuff up, man. You will find an exploit probably if that's the intended route. But in this case, it was the intended route, right? We don't know what this is, so you're gonna copy and paste it, give it to our Google friend, and as you can see, there's an exploit DB that comes up, a couple of articles. You can look through them, and in this case, this was our way in. So I'm gonna just open this up in a new tab, and yeah, let's just look at what it means first. And as you can see, it's like some exploit, I guess. I mean, not I guess, it is an exploit. It says remote mouse 3.008 fails to check for authentication and will execute any command any machine gives it. This is a good thing if it works. If it executes any command we give it, this is a very good thing for us, right? The script pops calc as a proof of concept, albeit a but slowly. It also has an index of key codes the app uses to communicate with the computer if you want to mess around with it yourself. Alright, so if we run this, we're going to open the calculator on whatever machine we run it against, but that's not what we want. But it is a good proof of concept. If we're able to open up the calculator, we can probably open up cmd.exe and do other fun stuff and get a shell back, right? So for now, what we can do is Google what this is. Like, what is remote mouse, bro? Like, what the hell? Remote mouse is a program for remotely controlling a computer from a phone or tablet. That's pretty interesting, actually. It's an application for remotely can I read? The remote mouse application is a program for remotely controlling a computer from a phone or tablet. This exploit allows to connect the remote. It's an exploit. I want an explanation of what remote mouse is, not an exploit. My internet is quite slow. Forgive me. Okay, so here we have an explanation of what remote mouse is, right? It says control made simple. It's the perfect combination of three most common remote control devices with smart multi-touch gestures. All you need is click and slide. So generally you can control your computer from your iPhone, your Android. I don't know why you'd still be using an Android, I'm joking. But yeah, you can control your computer from your device, right? Make it use it as a mouse generally. And so you can be at the mall and you can use your laptop, I guess, stuff like that. I don't know why you'd want to do that unless you're like trying to dodge work and just keep your desktop on. But yeah, people have their reasons, man. It is what it is. So this is the exploit we are going to use. We can just download it or copy and paste. whichever you want. Just don't get used to copying and pasting code off the internet. It's a bad move. I've learned my lesson. I'm joking. I've never had anything happen yet, but hopefully nothing does happen to me, because I do copy and paste a lot of code off the internet, you know, so we can save that. So we can take a look at what it might be doing. Here it's just sending characters and keystrokes, moving the mouse, and it sends the calc.exe string to the machine, and then if it succeeds, it says success. Process calc.exe has run on target. We can try to run this, and we'll have maybe the calculator run if it does work. So what we can do is Python. So it is a Python 2 exploit. So I will open up my virtual environment for Python 2, and if I can type, my goodness, I think it's the keyboard. I'm used to typing on my mechanical keyboard, and I'm using my laptop right now, and it's terrible. My goodness, it's so terrible. I don't even know what to do. But you are watching the video, bear with me. All right, let's see if it works, if it opens up the calculator. It's taking a while. They did tell us. All right, so it says success. Process calc.exe is run on target, and so this is a good thing. We can try manipulate it so that it runs and gets us a shell, right? So since it's running process.exe, since it's running calculator.exe, what we can try to do is do a PowerShell download and execute type thing and get a shell back. So what we need is a PowerShell script. I already have the script for us here. It is in the Shang thing. I think that's how I pronounce it, in the Shang. So all you need to do to download and execute it is you put this command, invoke PowerShell TCP reverse IP address, at the bottom of the script, so that as soon as it downloads, it runs. This is our IP address. This is the port we're going to be receiving on. And what we need to do now is have a reverse shell running. A netcat listener running rather. And then we're gonna have to look for the command so that we have everything set. All right, so we are back in our exploit, and this is the PowerShell command to download and execute a script. And this is our IP address. This is the name of the shell we're gonna download and execute, right? It's gonna execute it before it even hits the disk. I think that's what it does. Yeah, I guess. But before we run this, or while we run this, I just want to show you what happens behind the scenes, just to prove a point, right? So we're gonna save this and run it the same way we did before, and we have our Python. And we have our netcat listener here open, and we're gonna run this in a second. But when I run this, I want to go to this thing, the vulnerable machine, and show you what happens behind the scenes, just to prove a point. All right, while this is running, the point I want to prove is that run an exploit 3, 4, 5, 6 times before you move on, right? You have to find that sweet spot between wasting time and making actual progress, because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. To be honest, you really don't know. And as you can see here, it's sending the keystrokes little by little, and it's taking its time. And you could be looking at your Linux terminal and thinking, oh my gosh, it's so slow, it's probably hanging, it's not gonna work. And yet in the background, it is doing this. It is getting you a reverse shell, and then you Control-C the command, and it stops. And you try and move on, and you don't find anything else. Now you're going down rabbit holes, because now you're straying from the intended path. So try out an exploit a couple of times, modify it, make it work. All right, it might work, it might not work, but just try your best, right? Don't try it out once or twice and then conclude that, oh, it doesn't work. Look at it, it's still going, and here I am talking, right? It's still going, and now it's probably complete. And would you have waited, to be honest? Would you have waited just looking at your screen and thinking, what's happening? It's not working. It's hanging, right? Back then, if I hadn't done this box, I personally would have just control C out of it and tried moving on, because it took a while and I couldn't see what was happening in the background, right? You won't be able to see what's happening in the background, but you don't know how it's gonna work, right? So that's just the point I was trying to make. And as you can see here, we do not have a shell. I don't know what happened. Let's try it again. Right. Let's open up this thing. Is this our IP address? Yeah, this is our IP address. There we go. We're using port. I know what happened. We did not host the file. That's the dumbest thing ever, to be honest. The dumbest. Let's host this thing on port 80. Alright, let's try that again. And I'm gonna just skip this part so that as soon as it finishes running, we have our shell. Alright, this time we have a shell because we did host the file. As you can see, we have a hit on our HTTP server as a 200 code, which means it got it. And here is our shell. Hold up. I'm just joking. Let's continue. Alright, so we can check our privileges. Let me just expand this terminal. Who am I? /all. Who am I? This is too zoomed in. Come on. Okay, this looks better. I hope you can see. But as you can see, we are in the built-in administrators group, local account and member of the administrators group, and we basically have admin access to this box. Right. So let's go and retrieve the flag that is on the desktop. CD. Okay, we don't need that. Users dir dir. I think Sminky, maybe. Okay, I'm typing a bit better now. Okay, it's called flag.txt.txt. Why would it be flag.txt.txt? Okay, now I'm not typing that properly anymore. There we go. And we have a summary of the box by Howard. And as you can see, I hope you can see it. First thing he says, always check FTP with anonymous, right? Anonymous login. Let me use my actual accent. Always check FTP with anonymous login, right? And then the second thing is that check every running port. Banners have good info, right? Check the banners. Connect to the thing with Netcat. Connect to the thing on the interwebs. You never know what you're gonna find. You might find the intended path, like we did here, right? Look for public exploits. Know how to read public exploit. Now add on to this and say know how to modify them, like we had to do. We read through the thing. We saw what it was doing, and then we added our own code to it so that it can get us a shell. If one fails, try another way. I don't know if there was another way in rooting this thing, but I'm sure this was the intended path. And yeah, it was a fun box, right? I hope you went through it yourself. And if you learned a couple of things, just give the video a like, maybe sub to the channel, follow me, and let's prepare for the OSCP together. But until next time, peace, I guess.